The flute slipped from my daughter-in-law's hand the instant her mama hit the tile. Lorraine's body bowed and trembled on my kitchen floor, a lace of foam threading the corners of her mouth. And all I could think was, that wasn't meant for her. I'm Evelyn Grant. 68 years on this earth taught me to read a room, a ledger, and a lie. You don't build a consulting empire from the bones of grief after your husband dies and then lose your life to carelessness in your own home. 2 hours earlier, my house on the south side of Atlanta was overflowing with laughter and Motown classics. I'd signed the papers that morning, sold my firm for $19.8 million. I built it 12 years after burying Leonard. Brick by brick. Tear by quiet tear. My son, Marcus, insisted on the party. "Ma, you deserve a night where you just shine," he said, that soft smile doing the same work it did when he was 10 and wanted seconds. "Let Tiana handle everything. You sit. You glow." Tiana, who groaned about unloading a dishwasher, had transformed into Black Martha Stewart, flowers just so, crystal polished until it sang. Beautiful, yes. And deadly as it turned out. Please like, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from. 30 guests whirled through my place. Old colleagues, a couple church folks, neighbors who knew my gardening schedule better than their own birthdays. Tiana had even hired a bartender, which felt like overkill for people who preferred sweet tea to mezcal. "Only the best for you, Miss Evelyn," she cooed, her manicure bright as candy apples. I was nodding through a conversation about post-merger synergies when I saw it. Tiana stood near the champagne, glancing right, left, then slid a tiny amber vial from her clutch. My blood cooled. She tilted that dropper over one flute. Not any flute. Mine. The one with the barely there chip on the rim I always chose. Habit is a map for someone patient enough to study it. A fool might have screamed. Another might have slopped the vial from her hand and ruined the night. But I know snakes. If you let them believe they've cornered a mouse, they show you exactly how they plan to strike. Tiana's face softened into practiced concern as she approached me. "You look tired, Mama Evelyn," she said, offering the flute. "Toast your brilliance." I took it, smiled like a woman dazzled by love and attention, and waited. 10 minutes later, a distraction shimmered on her wrist, a new tennis bracelet. While Tiana admired herself in the reflection of my patio door, I set my flute aside and strolled. Lorraine, sweet, scattered Lorraine, stood near the counter, purse crooked at her elbow, eyes searching for a drink like a woman trying to remember where she'd set down her keys. I exchanged the flutes like I'd set down a napkin. Quiet. Ordinary. Unseen. 5 minutes. That's all it took. "This has an interesting flavor," Lorraine said brightly, lips puckering. "Did you get it somewhere special?" Her voice wobbled like a radio between stations. Then her knees buckled. Screams cracked the music. Tiana's performance was immediate, hands to mouth, tears sheened, voice climbing the rafters. "Somebody call 911. I knelt beside Lorraine, counting breaths, watching foam. Fake panic is messy. Too loud, too pretty. Real fear is ugly. It's focused. Tiana's was a shade off, like a dress that almost matches the shoes. "What happened?" Marcus pushed through the crush, face bleached of color. His eyes flicked to his wife. Too quick, too practiced. "I don't know," Tiana sobbed, clutching my arm. "Mama was fine, then she just dropped." Sirens stitched the evening. Paramedics swept in, gloved, competent, kind. While they worked, I studied my son like a weather map. His jaw set. His hands wouldn't stop moving. "Which hospital?" I asked as they slid Lorraine onto the stretcher. "Mercy General," the paramedic said. "Family? Friend," I answered, glancing at Tiana, who was hyperventilating into a paper bag one of my neighbors handed her like a party favor. "I'll follow," I said, reaching for my keys. Marcus stepped, quick and smooth. "Ma, you don't need to do that. We'll take care of everything. You stay here. We'll come back." How thoughtful. "Keep the target still while the plan gets patched." "Nonsense," I said lightly. "Lorraine is practically kin." At Mercy General, I sat close enough to catch every word tossed between scrubs. Acute poisoning. A doctor murmured to a nurse. Alkaloid profile. Could be aconite. Monkshood. Old as witchcraft. A pretty flower that kills slow and certain. Tiana paced the linoleum, heels ticking like a metronome counting out a doomed song. Marcus sat stiff in a chair, phone buzzing, eyes darting. This is awful, Tiana whispered for the 5th time. My poor mama. These things are mysterious. I soothed, then let the hook sink. Lucky she didn't drink much of that champagne. Only a few sips. Tiana's step stuttered. Champagne? You think? Oh, I'm sure it's nothing, I said, dismissive. But her hands trembled as she reached for styrofoam coffee. 3 hours later, a doctor emerged.
She's stable, he said.
We'll keep her overnight. Tests were inconclusive, but whatever she ingested is clearing. Can we see her?
Tiana asked.
Family only. She's sedated. Tomorrow. In the parking lot, Marcus walked me to my car. Rain misted the sodium lights, slicking the asphalt gold. Maybe you should stay with us tonight, he said. After all this, I'd feel better. A kindness with a cage attached. I'm fine, I said. New security system, remember? From my rearview mirror, I watched them argue in whispers. Tiana gestured sharp enough to cut air. Marcus tried to calm a storm that didn't want calming. Back home, I opened a fresh bottle, poured a real flute, and sat in my study where the walls smelled faintly of lemon oil and old victories. Time to inventory motives. In business, truth isn't always in the numbers, but the numbers rarely lie. At dawn, I brewed coffee strong enough to stand a spoon and wrote on a yellow legal pad, Marcus and Tiana, finances. The list was a wound that bled ink. His firm had limped since the downturn. Her boutique sparkled on Instagram, but not in QuickBooks. They lived larger than their ledger. House in Brookwood Heights, 2 cars, both leased, both loud. I traced every little help I'd given. Tuition for my granddaughter Maya's academy, a generous down payment, gifts during lean months that piled into nearly $170,000 over 5 years. I never called it a loan. A mother's money feels like water. You pour, it disappears. Everyone assumes there's more. The phone rang at 7:30. Miss Evelyn. Tiana breathed, voice feather-soft. I couldn't sleep. After last night, do you feel okay? No headache? No nausea? How kind, I said, staring at the open party bottle still sitting on my counter, like a snake sunning on a rock. I feel fine. How's Lorraine? Doctors think she ate something that didn't agree with her, Tiana said quickly. You know how she is with pills. Probably took one on an empty stomach. Lorraine organizes vitamins like a drill sergeant. She labels. She schedules alarms. I've seen the chart. That's a relief, I said. I worried it might be something at the party. Oh no, Tiana rushed. Definitely not food poisoning. They were clear. Too quick to close that door. After we hung up, I eyed the bottle. 4/5 full. Evidence waiting to be asked a question. A lab would oblige. I didn't need proof for me. I needed leverage. At 9, the bell rang. Marcus, with a pink bakery box that smelled like butter and apology. He moved through my kitchen like muscle memory, lifting the good plates without asking, finding the sugar without looking. My boy. The one who brought me crayon masterpieces and dandelions. The one who used to press his forehead to mine when he was scared. How are you holding up? He asked, pouring coffee. Oh, you know me. Don't rattle easy. I smiled. He tried to return it, but the light didn't reach his eyes. That's what I was afraid of, he said. Odd choice of words. He shifted, picked at a croissant. Tiana and I have been talking about your situation. My situation? You're 68. Alone in a big house, all that money from the sale, it's a lot. We just want to make sure you're safe. He gestured broadly, as if safety required square footage smaller than mine. There it was. The script. I appreciate your concern, I said. But I've managed fine. Have you, though? He ran a hand through his hair, just like when he was 17 and wanted my car. If what happened to Lorraine had been you. Lorraine collapsed surrounded by 30 witnesses and sirens, I said. Not exactly a PSA against living alone. He inhaled slow. We found a place, Cypress Grove. It's not a home. It's a resort.
Golf. Spa.
On-site medical staff.
Ah.
The place they'd practice saying with warm voices. He showed me a website. Brown elders smiling in a pool, playing spades in a sunlit room. It was all soft colors and soft promises. There's a wait list, he said, but if someone pays the entrance fee up front, $380,000, things move faster. It covers everything for life. A tidy bite from my liquid assets. And once I was tucked into their pastel paradise, who would hold the pen that signed my checks? Who would decide which doctors wrote in my chart? It's lovely, I said. But this house holds Leonard's laugh in the walls. Mom, he said gently, Dad's been gone 12 years. Isn't it time? If I hadn't watched Tiana pour death into a flute, I might have melted. Concern wears his face beautifully. I'll think about it, I said. Relief ran over him like shade on a hot day.
Take your time.
Maybe we visit next week. I stacked plates. I should call Lorraine. Drop off flowers. Tiana asked me to tell you. Mom needs rest. Doctor says no visitors. Convenient. Keep me away until whatever she drank is ash and fog. After he left, I called my attorney, David Lang. 20 years of careful counsel had taught me he didn't rattle easy either. I need to see you, I said. Today. Of course, he replied. Bring everything you remember. David's office sat on the 15th floor with a view that made the city look like coins spilled across velvet. Dark wood, leather chairs, and case law lined like hymns. He closed his door and let me speak without interruption. When I finished, he steepled his fingers. You're certain about the vial? As certain as the names of my dead. He nodded. Proving intent is hard without the bottle. Even if we test it, she can claim it was a supplement or flavoring. And unless we show that glass was yours, it muddies target. Then we test it, I said. And we document. He flipped open a folder. Then we document you. Competency evaluation by a geriatric psychiatrist I trust. We timestamp your clarity. We draft directives that say who can and cannot make decisions. We build a trust that audits anyone who tries you. And the rest? I asked. His smile cut like a neat seam. We get creative. Design your estate so greed is an alarm system. We mapped it. Wills and trusts that turned sticky hands into sirens. Medical directives that shined floodlights on false concern. Clauses that sent everything to charity if anyone tried to paint me incompetent.
One more thing, he said.
Security.
Now. Done, I said.
Done twice. By noon the next day, 3 quiet men in gray polos threaded cameras into the corners of my rooms and eyes onto my doors. Motion sensors. A panic pendant that would scream for help even if my voice couldn't. I told the neighbors about package thieves. Everyone nodded like they already suspected the teenagers across the street. At 2, a courier delivered a tidy stack from David, notarized will, living trust, medical directives. My old plan had bequeathed Marcus everything. My new one took his hands off the controls. He'd receive a modest lifetime income, $45,000 a year, enough to keep lights on and shame at bay. The rest? Black health initiatives. Scholarships for girls who wanted to break things open. The cancer wing that bears my mama's maiden name. As for Tiana, nothing. I'm a generous woman. Not a fool. The bell rang at 4. Marcus and Tiana on my porch, their faces arranged for somber concern. He noticed the tiny black dome in the corner. New camera? Package thieves, I said with a shrug. They perched like the couch might bite. We feel terrible about your party, Tiana began, dabbing the corner of her eye. If something we brought. I'm sure it wasn't, I said. What if you stayed with us? Marcus said. Just until things feel safe. That's thoughtful, I said. But I'm safe. A beat. I updated my will today. The air cooled 10 degrees. Tiana's smile thinned. Your will? It was old. I said breezily. A brush with mortality will do that. Nothing dramatic. Silence swelled, heavy as summer heat. They left soon after, promising to check in. On the driveway camera, I watched their car idle. Tiana's hands flew as she argued into her phone. Marcus kept reaching to lower it, to hush her. She slapped his hand away. I slept like a woman who had replaced every lock on her life. Morning arrived with a surprise. Lorraine stood on my porch, looking washed but steady, a scarf tied neatly around her hair. "I need to talk," she said. I made tea. She watched steam rise like a sign. "Tiana told me I had a bad reaction to medicine," she said. "But I don't take medicine. Just vitamins. Haven't in years." "What do you remember?" Champagne tasted bitter, metallic. Her hands shook, and I saw Tiana earlier by the glasses, with a little dropper bottle. My pulse quickened. "What kind of bottle?" "Like essential oils. The fancy kind." She met my eyes. "I think my own child tried to poison you." "I saw her," I said. I switched the glasses. The color left her face. "Lord have mercy." We sat in the quiet between mothers. "What will you do?" she whispered. "Give them exactly what they want," I said. "Just not how they expect." After Lorraine left, I called Patricia Williams, who runs a private investigations firm and can untie knots without fraying the rope. We'd done business when I needed quiet truths. "I need everything on Marcus and Tiana," I said. "Bank accounts, loans, side hustles, quiet storms." "Are you sure?" she asked gently. "Family files cut." "I'm already bleeding," I said. "Give me 2 days." I didn't wait idly. I asked Marcus to meet me at Mama Rose's, a restaurant woven through my life with celebrations and quiet recoveries. The red booths still held our ghosts, his graduation, his wedding toast, Maya's first birthday when she wore icing like war paint. He arrived looking handsome and frayed. "You sounded nervous," he said. "I've been thinking," I told him, "about my safety, about change." He leaned in, hope bright as July. "Ma," I called Cypress Grove. I let the word sit. "They have an opening if I decide quickly. They need the entrance fee by Friday." "That's great," he said, relief and hunger fighting on his face. "We'll help with the paperwork." "One more thing," I added. "They require power of attorney. Someone to decide if I can't." "Of course," he said instantly. "I'll do it." He'd just stepped into the trap with both polished shoes. Patricia called Thursday. I sat by my window while she read me my son's life like a foreclosure notice. "They've refinanced twice," she said. "Second mortgage plus a maxed-out HELOC. Credit card debt over $80,000. His firm's been bleeding for 2 years. Paying cards with cards." My breath thinned. "There's also a life insurance policy on you," she said. $500,000. Tiana listed as beneficiary, filed 6 months ago. "On me?"
"How?"
"She claimed caregiver status. The underwriter probably assumed Marcus was the true beneficiary." I stared at the azaleas until they blurred. "Anything else?" "Payments to a Dr. Richard Stern, geriatric psychiatrist. 3 months of consultations." I rang David. "Stern. Reputation for helpful evaluations," he said. "If a family wants someone declared incompetent, he sees the signs." By afternoon, Marcus and Tiana spread papers on my dining table like battle plans. "Admission contract," Tiana chirped. "Financial disclosure. They'll need a list of your assets to calculate monthly fees." Her fingers were nimble. "And here's the power of attorney. Pretty standard." I read it. It handed him my life. Immediate access. Unfettered decisions. "This feels broad," I said. "It's just precaution," Marcus said gently. "It's complicated at your age." That phrase again, your age. I tasted rust. "I'll sleep on it," I said. "Remember the deadline," he said. "I do," I said. So did the snare I set beneath his feet. Friday dawned low and gray, a sky that understood what endings require. They arrived at 9, their clothes saying business, while their eyes said appetite. Have you decided? Marcus asked, barely containing the tremor in his hands. I have. I placed signed, notarized papers on the table, Cypress Grove admissions, meticulous as a confession. It's time. Tiana exhaled laughter that didn't quite make it to joy. You'll love it. And the power of attorney, I said, sliding another document to Marcus. His fingers shook. This is right, Ma. We spent an hour consolidating Tiana's word. She typed while I gave her account numbers. Every few minutes, she and Marcus shared looks that children share when they've found a secret stash of candy.
There's one more document, I said.
My attorney needs my signature for tax implications. We'll drive, Marcus offered. No need. He's on his way. The doorbell rang on cue, but it wasn't David. A black woman in a navy suit stepped in, badge flashing. Detective Lisa Monroe, she said. We're here regarding a suspected poisoning at this address. Marcus stood. Poisoning? Tiana's smile slipped. The hospital reported aconite in Ms. Carter's system, Monroe said evenly. We also tested the champagne from your party. The opened bottle contained aconite. My house held its breath. Marcus's gaze snapped to his wife. Tiana, what did you do? I didn't do anything. Tiana's voice skittered. Why would I poison my own mother? The glass with the highest concentration was the one traditionally used by Ms. Grant, Detective Monroe said. Her eyes slid to me. Calm as rain. Someone targeted her. Tiana swayed. Marcus went gray. There's more, I said softly. Detective, the policy? Monroe nodded, produced a folded document. Ms. Carter, 6 months ago you purchased a life insurance policy on Ms. Grant for $500,000, naming yourself beneficiary. Tiana stared at the paper like it might combust. This is a setup, she whispered. Evelyn, tell them. I watched you, I said, voice steady. You poured death into my glass. I switched it with your mother's. Marcus flinched. You knew? All this time? I also know your debt, I added. Dr. Stern. Cypress Grove. The power of attorney. He closed his eyes. I didn't know about poison, he said hoarsely. I swear. We just wanted you safe. We wanted to help. The word help stumbled out like it didn't recognize its own shoes. You wanted control, I said. Detective Monroe stepped forward. Tiana Carter, you're under arrest for attempted murder. As the cuffs clicked, Tiana met my eyes, rage bright as glass. You think you won. You don't know what you've started. Oh, baby, I said. I started long before you got here. After the door closed behind them, the house felt too big for our grief. Marcus sat with his hands dangling, phone forgotten among the scattered papers. He stared at the power of attorney like it might explain him. She said it was about getting you somewhere safe, he murmured. She told me you were slipping, that you were making risky decisions. He swallowed. We're drowning, Ma. The business is breaking. We're behind on everything. She said if something happened naturally, we could reset. But she never. He looked at the door, where the echo of cuffs still lived. I didn't know about that. Show me your phone, I said. He hesitated, then handed it over. I scrolled. The truth is never tidy. Did you talk to Ma about Cypress Grove? Tiana wrote. Yes, he replied. Good. She's asking too many questions. The sooner she moves, the better. What if she changes her mind? She won't. Not after tomorrow night. What's tomorrow night? Trust me. By Sunday, she'll be begging us to take care of her. I placed the phone on the table between us. You knew something was coming. I thought she'd stage a break-in, he said, voice paper thin. A scare. I didn't think he couldn't finish. Do you know what scares me? I asked. How easily you plan to shatter me. I had Patricia look at your finances, I said. The debt. The house of cards. The payments to Dr. Stern. He squeezed his eyes shut. Tiana said we needed a backup. In case you refused to sign, Stern would find signs of decline. His voice cracked. I told myself it was just in case. That we wouldn't use it. You were always going to use it, I said gently. Maybe not today, but the minute I said no. He bowed over his hands, shoulders shaking. My son. My baby who used to sleep across my chest like a heartbeat. There's one more thing, I said, because the truth deserves sunlight even when it burns. The power of attorney you signed? It gives you authority over a checking account with exactly $1 in it. His head jerked up. What? David drafted a mirror for this morning. My real assets are in a trust you can't touch. If anyone tries to declare me incompetent, everything flips to charity. He inhaled like a hurt animal. You've destroyed my life. No, I said. I saved mine. You'll have to rebuild yours. He covered his face. For the first time, I couldn't tell whether he was the boy who needed me or the man who might break me to have me. 3 months later, the roses Leonard planted glowed like spilled wine along my fence. Tiana took a plea. 15 years. Marcus, 3, for conspiracy. Maya called last night, her voice steady. Older than 16. Grandma, I'm sorry, she said. I didn't know. I know, baby, I told her. Come this summer. We'll make peach cobbler and talk law. Lorraine became my unexpected ally. We meet twice a week for coffee and forgiveness. She wants to write a book on elder abuse with our story folded into its spine. They almost got away with it, she said. They never stood a chance, I replied. I've been dodging hands in my purse for 40 years. This time, they just shared my blood. David stopped by with news. The insurance company voided Tiana's policy. The creditors took the house with the cathedral ceilings. They asked if I wanted to buy it. Let someone honest have it, I said. He handed me final papers. My trust, armored. If anyone tries to erase me with a pen, my legacy becomes 1,000 scholarships and a clinic wing. A text buzzed. Maya, Grandma, I got into Northwestern pre-law. You were right. I can do this. You already are, I wrote back. I am 68, not fragile. Older is not powerless. Underestimate a Black grandmother if you want. It's an expensive lesson. Thank you for watching. Please like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more stories like this.